Welcome to the Romanian River channel and my first impressions of Steel Division Normandy 44, a game by Eugen Systems and published by Paradox Interactive. Now, the game itself is a strategy game in the same genre as Wargame European Escalation and the other Wargame games. Sorry, the alteration. Because, to be honest, Eugen Systems just decided to improve upon their current game in the series, which is Wargame Red Dragon, by basically tweaking a few of the mechanics and taking some other stuff from other games like Company of Heroes and mixing it in. But before I get into too many details, the standard disclaimer applies, i.e. a review copy of the game was given to me by Paradox Interactive for the purposes of doing this first impressions video. Besides that, I also like to mention that I haven't really played much of the game, about, let's say, 5 to 6 hours worth, both solo and multiplayer. Because to be honest, I have about 40 hours worth of experience in European Escalation, and to be honest, the game feels a lot like that. There are differences, like for example, the territory control system is completely novel, i.e. it is it is completely fluid, i.e. as far as your troops are advancing uncontested, that's where your territory is at. Besides that, there's also the suppression mechanics from Company of Heroes, which is quite lovely. Tanks also get suppressed by AT-FAR, which is also lovely, up until you realize that the allies don't really have much in the way of decent armor, because this is Normandy 44, not Germany 1945, because if it was then, while the Pershing itself wasn't that stellar of a tank, at least there were options. You could at least deploy a Super Pershing and at least take on a King Tiger frontally. In this stage of the game development, there are not many things that can take on a King Tiger frontally. Heck, there are not many things that can take on Panthers and Yak Panthers frontally. Regular Tigers usually can take 17-pounders and die. But before we get too much into that, one of the more recognizable features Eugen took from their Wargame series and put into Steel Division is the deck creator. Before you start a multiplayer game, for example, you ideally want to create your own deck, so to say, rather than rely on the randomized versions. Though, if I'm not mistaken, they do a decent job, but they do a decent job in as far as Eugen is concerned, and the game, and more precisely the game's meta and players' tendency to work around with it, change things quite rapidly. A couple of days ago, you could probably pull off decently homogeneous divisions, but right now it seems to be Germans turtled up, AA everywhere, and artillery the bloody hell out of you. Because unlike, if I'm not mistaken, the Allies, which I don't even think the armored get it. Let me just check. Oh yes, they do get it, but it's a C. Up until we get, and even in this one. Unless you're playing Allied armor, and let's see if any of the others get it. You'll be dealing with Nebelwerfers quite a bit, and long-range artillery, which is, to be honest, a pain in the canastas to deal with. Okay, these guys don't really have anything long-range. These things are armored and they're more in the realm of broom bars and stuff like that. These are not nearly long enough ranged for what they are. Generally speaking, you'd want field artillery in the traditional sense. Let's see if I can actually find any. Because, yeah, as I said, the noble warfers are problematic. Canadian infantry. These guys don't get any. Calliopes, that is. Do these guys get any? Nope. What the hell's that? 203mm, what? Come on, rotate. How do I rotate the camera? Ah, there we go. No. Whatever. Still trying to rotate the camera. Oh well. Some things I haven't yet figured out. Quite the player like that. Is this a... Oh, it looks things, yeah. Looks like a 203mm mortar. Oh, that could help things out quite a bit. 140mm RAM? Okay, the Canadians seem to have a bit more in terms of their artillery park. But I'm gonna suspect, yeah, they don't really have much in terms of armor. The RAM is a decent enough tank for what it is, though. It's more of a pre-Sherman in terms of durability. Way to make me look like an idiot. It's actually better armored. The gun's shit, but it's early game. And that shit gun should probably be able to take out even Panther 4, so decently good. Okay, the Canadians look like a good option up until the late game. They get a decent amount of selections. Okay. Looks like I'm gonna be playing the Canadians and not the Polish, because the Polish, well, they get a wee bit screwed in terms of unit selections. I mean, the air bit is... no. Needs something a bit better than this, and there's not much. This is a ground attack aircraft, so bugger all it can do really. These are not spotting aircraft. In terms of armor, they don't really have anything to deal with King Tigers, and the Germans do get King Tigers. Even though technically they were rare sites as fuck in Normandy, and even more egregiously, the Tiger 1s were even rarer in Normandy, ironically enough. I believe, who was it that said it? I think Challenger from the dude from Wargaming that does from time to time for like that armored thing at Bovington presentations. The first one he did was on Myths of American Armor. And apparently there were only 2 or 3 Tiger 1 engagements in the entire Normandy campaign. And yet in this game the Tiger 1s are pretty ubiquitous. In fact, they're one of the main problems you're going to be dealing with. Because they're one of the first tanks you really can deal with frontally. And one of the more annoying things, personally, is the fact that so many of these things get... well, so many of these divisions even get a stolen Firefly at A? Are you bloody fucking kidding me? Are you legit? The hell is this shit? So they get a C grade, a late game, because the game's divided into 3 stages. Early, which is basically skirmish, B, which is basically medium engagement, and C is basically a full-blown battle. So they get a battle tier tank at A. Granted, it's 1 or 2, I think, but still, fucking hell. Eugen, balance this bloody shit, cause this is... and they get Wittmann at B. Wittmann. A King Tiger. A Tiger 1 ace. Who has, I believe, superior accuracy and superior morale to the standard Tiger, which is also very difficult to deal with as well. Oh boy, balance is gonna be fun. For this game at least. Oh look, they also get an AVR. AVRE, pardon. Oh bloody hell. In any case. So yeah, build your deck and have fun. Or build your deck, get punched in, improve your deck, which is basically the wargame standard. Now, besides the whole suppression, both of tanks and of infantry, the more fluidic territory control, the stages of the battles themselves prevent, to a certain degree, ruffle stomping and turtling like is possible in wargame. And what else was there? Oh yeah, and the line of sight mechanics, they got revised and turned into, well, to be honest, quite asinine stuff. I mean, you're not usually, how should I put this? I can get the idea that a pack gun or a anti-tank gun can see through a forest, but it sure as shit can shoot through one. So why the hell in this game you can't shoot with anti-tank guns through forests? You also have the thing that the Axis has a more ubiquitous form of rocket artillery, the Nebelwerfers. Let me just pick the least. They're all Germans, aren't they? Oh, come on. There are also Ost battalions here. I believe there are also several of the... there were Italians, there were Hungarians, there were Czechs in the Ost battalions particularly. I don't know if there were any of the Bulgarians or Romanians, but still, there were other divisions than just pure Germans. Granted, it's some of the more famous ones, but come on. Oh yeah, and Ramos Zirkus gets a King Tiger hero, and that's as about balanced as you can imagine. As long as the player is not completely and utterly stupid, the King Tiger is almost impossible to kill. You'd need to basically land perfect artillery strikes on top of it, which are at the mercy of RNGesus. But let's see. Okay, let's go with an infantry. Do these guys get Nebelwerfers? Yeah, they do. That's... I don't know what that is. 107mm mortar, probably. What's 103mm artillery? So that's what was sniping me from her. Okay, this is what the Germans have in terms of artillery for infantry. Their early game is weak, I'll give them that. But their artillery game isn't weak. Let's see how the Axis allies stack up in terms of infantry artillery. Because I'm discovering some shit here I'm really not liking. Because I played a wee bit, but priests don't do shit. Mortars are short range, even the 4.2-inch one. This is gonna blat things decently, but yeah. That's 25-pounder artillery piece. That's an 88mm gun. That's not gonna have the same range as 103. Okay, these guys don't have decent, and these are the Scots. Let's see American infantry. These guys, I think. Artillery. Okay, they at least have this. The xylophone. Okay. And 105s. Okay, this is good. Not so good the fact that it's basically gonna be Americans versus Germans, isn't it? Let's see what in terms of tanks these guys get. Rhino, what the hell is a Rhino? Huh. Pretty shit. liquid shit, anti-tank guns, shit, fuck. The bazookas are actually better than the Piats the Brits get, but that's not saying a lot. The Piat is basically not even a recoilless rifle. It's basically like, okay, we're within 50 yards, okay, spring-loaded heat round. Whoever designed that thing, oh boy. The dude, if he didn't do it on purpose, he was the most idiotic person imaginable. I mean, a spring-loaded heat round. Not even a rocket-propelled or recoilless. And those are the rocket-propelled Panzerschrecks are very good in the game. They're decently short range, about 100 to 200 yards, but the bazookas are worse and the Piats are catastrophically worse. Let's see air power. Do you guys get missiles? Yeah, you do, and you get decently sized ones too. And a hero. Some of these will be pre-order bonuses though, so keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Anti-air. The Bofors are quite good. And they're decent enough in terms of anti-tank, but they're certainly not flak 88s, which the Germans get. Which of course also double as anti-tank guns. Because, comrade, why do you need the anti-tank 88mm? A flak will do. Of course you could breach Firefly in a minute. They should have given the Brits something like, I don't know, the Tortoise, because that thing was slow as ass, so artillery would counter it pretty decently. And the Americans should have got their frickin' Super Pershing or something. Would still leave the Poles, the Canadians, and the French in pretty big shit, because the French, even though in the actual world they had captured Panthers in their ranks, if I'm not mistaken, they get this. And these are nowhere near enough in terms of anti-tank capacity. They're even worse overall, I do believe, in the game than the 17-pounder Fireflies. And they get some... no, they don't get at all. They don't even get the Achilles. So this is... yeah, they get decent enough heat guys with these guys, but these are 4-man units. So yeah, balance is problematic in this game. The Germans can turtle up significantly and pose immense problems to dislodge, and the Allies don't have enough armor to actually do shit. I mean, the Canadians do have the Rams, which are decent in early game, but this is bad. This is... Paradox, you need to put in a couple of free DLCs worth of units. Bad. Tank Horn, they added in modding capacity, so at least there will be a fix to some degree in that way from the players, but that's not an excuse for the launch game. It's bad. I mean, let's just look. How many of the Germans actually get? Let's just pick at random. Let's see this guy. Oh dear, corn. Oh dear motherfucking corn. Okay. What gun is 105? So that's decently long ranged. These things are not that far long ranged, but they shoot and scoot like nobody's business. And this is a long range artillery piece. These guys are probably mortars of some description. These are Hotchkiss tanks with Nebelwerfer rockets strapped to the side, so if anything, these things are even more overpowered because they can actually defend themselves from most early game anti-tank units, including infantry, M3s, M5s, and I believe they can give a decent shake to even Panzer 3s and 4s. The Panzer 4 with 70mm in front won't have any issues from this, but the other versions will probably get molested a wee bit. What in the bloody hell? Okay, so yeah, balance is not good. I mean, okay, they have aircraft issues, but really they can just go like, okay, these things can pop most tanks you get quite easily. This is fairly fast and fairly invulnerable unless you have a lot of AA. These guys have bombs, don't they? Yep, they do have bombs. So these guys. Nah, boy. I mean, were the Allies that screwed in Normandy? So yeah, there's the first impressions. The game itself plays nice. The mechanics are fun, but as I discovered even today, the balance is kind of shot. And as I just saw right now, I know why, because that much rocket artillery for one side and not the other. I mean, just excuse it by saying, oh, the Soviets sent over a buckload of Katyushas to everybody. Just give Katyushas to everybody. Those things are fragile as all hell, but at least they're rocket artillery. And the rocket artillery in this game is insanely powerful. At the current time, at least. Okay. Now I could do a multiplayer session to show you guys how the game plays that way. The problem is this video is already fairly long, and yeah, let's just go with the campaign. Fair warning, the campaign itself, medium difficulty, just means the AI is precognition. At hard and very hard, it starts cheating legitly. So here it has the same stuff as you do, it just knows where all your stuff is and knows where to land artillery shells, precisely. One thing that's worth mentioning as well for the beginning bit, the intro, at least 2 weeks ago, had text-to-speech narration. Let's see if that stuck.
Last night, American and Allied airborne forces boarded their planes and took off towards France.
It's not text-to-speech anymore.
Auduville.
This is an airborne
battle group.
Battle. This is quite important.
Jeeps and M20 command cars are our cavalry. Their 50 caliber machine guns will pin down the enemy infantry and rout light vehicles. Their mobility allows them to intervene wherever they're needed, but they must be kept out of harm's way. Airborne rifles are the best light infantry Uncle Sam can muster. M3 and M5 guns are our only units with long-range anti-tank. Mortars and howitzers are the answer to our paratroopers being pinned down by an enemy defense position. These recon units are crucial to detect infantry positions and machine gun nests, which can hamper our advance.
Not I'm gonna play long, just enough to show you guys how it's done. And try to
ready for deployment, sir.
Try
Just give the order
keep
to
this under
paratroopers.
30
We're
minutes.
supposed to be surrounded.
Basically, Dragon Select allows you to position your guys.
The guns there, sir.
Kameraden, das war's. Yes, sir.
Pluto out.
Those are much bigger planes than you get in the proper multiplayer.
Airborne ready, sir.
Let's have a look around.
Let's see if I can take care of those artillery
yes, sir.
pieces. Well, 88th, but anti-air artillery pieces.
Moving on to new firing position.
Okay, deploy some support. No. Deploy some anti-tank.
Advised. Enemy sighted.
Need some extra firepower?
I am in charge here.
MG, use smoke to cut its line of sight. We'll reposition the guns there, sir. Yes, sir.
Foobar. Yes, sir.
Okay, do I have any proper... No, I don't.
Sir, yes, sir. Yes? Open fire! One more hit, we're done!
There it goes.
Let's have a look around.
Precognition to enemies.
Yes, sir.
Best kind of enemy.
Can't take much more of this. Guns primed and ready.
One more hit, we're done! Move on! Any orders? Stretchers!
Drop 200. 6 rounds. Over.
Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die!
Get that damn
Ready to
dude.
pound it, sir.
They spotted us!
Come on, scare off, you bastard.
Need some extra firepower. We're easy target here. German supply truck spotted, sir. Let's commandeer it. Given that we're always short on ammo, it could prove handy in future battles.
Yeah, good luck with that.
It's gonna blow! Moving on to new firing position.
Saluting the captain makes him a target for the Germans.
Scouts report locating one of the field batteries shelling the beach, sir.
For God's sake! Need a lift? Let's liberate some ladies.
So yeah, basically this is the game more or less. Find a way to get through shit. And if you're not macro-intensive capable, or more precisely have the APM of a Bronze League or Silver League StarCraft player of a decent level, you're gonna struggle in this game quite a significant bit. Like I am.
Need a lift?
Because I no longer play that game. And as you can see, the territory control is completely fluid. Let's pause it. So in terms of recommendations for people who would be interested in this game, if you have mates, like let's say 3 to 4 at least, who like playing strategy games and like basically screwing around, this is one of the better games to do it in. Because yeah, one can be artillery heavy and the others can be basically turtle forces, and you guys would probably steamroll most guys because most teams are made up of pugs or however they're spelled or pronounced or abbreviated in English. If you're outside that category, depends really. The shortness of the campaigns themselves, which are 4 missions per with 3 campaigns per total at the current time, it's a bit short, but the cheating AI will make games difficult and long and drawn out, so it is about 20 to 30 hours, I'd reckon. More if you're like me, a complete inept person when it comes to dealing with high degrees of micro. And the multiplayer itself will have fun times, but I would suggest avoiding games where the enemy team's obviously pre-made. One way to spot that is if none of the enemy players leave. I.e., for example, there's 5 when you come in, and allies join in, leave out, join in, leave out, but those 5 Axis players, for example, stay. That's a warning sign, because they're gonna be very cohesive, and you and your guys are gonna be, yeah, think World of Tanks platoons, but on crack. Especially considering if they're Axis, they're probably gonna be synergizing King Tigers, Devil Warfers, and a lot of other lovely stuff. The only thing I can say is thank corn they did not put in the Storm Tiger, because that would have been, oh boy, level an entire building in one shot and have a range of about 2 to 3 kilometers. Oh boy. If you're just into strategy games overall, game's worth a look. If hard as nails single player and even harder nails multiplayer interests you, and you're more into micro tactics and so on. But be aware, the game does have its balance issues. I've heard that some people have issues running the game like I did when I initially got it about 3 to 4 months ago. Spoiler, it did not run at all, would not even get past the loading screen without administrator level privileges, and afterwards it would crash on options, it would crash on when the multiplayer, it would crash on trying to play solo. Well, not solo technically, more of the tutorial type stuff. So yeah, keep that in mind. But Paradox Interactive and Eugen are both developers who do not abandon games. And considering the tendency for Paradox to make the basic level DLC for their games free and have embellishments on top, which cost money and usually cost quite a bit of it, while Eugen makes fairly in-depth DLCs. This is more me speculating, but if those two intersect decently well, you'll get, how should I put this, DLCs with multiple factions and a couple of factions paid for, you know, something like that, embellishments like that, which will help out things significantly considering the unit imbalances. The modding support will also help quite a fair bit, but that's not an excuse for the developers in and of itself. It's just, if you guys really want to play the game and don't feel like waiting, the modding stuff might be something to keep an eye on. Aside of that stuff, not much else to say. Game itself, being at 30, or was it 40? Let me just check to be sure, because price may have changed since, yeah, it did. it's 39 US dollars and 39.99, 39.99. So basically 40 US dollars or 40 euros, which is kind of annoying considering euros are not equal to US dollars, but whatever, to purchase at the current time. And in and of itself, it is a fun thing to have cracking about with mates. Otherwise, do your research, watch this video, watch a couple of more, and if you like a couple of more reviews or first impressions or gameplay videos or play sessions from people like Madness Gaming, if then it appeals to you, pick it up. If not, no real loss for you guys. It is a good game, but it is a flawed game all the same. Thank you for watching, and until next time, buff the